Okay, it's been a while. Welcome back to the crypto domain, guys. I've had a lot going on. There's obviously a lot of other priorities in the world than sometimes just crypto. Although we'd like it to be our only focus and be able to work on it full time, that's just not the reality of the life we're living. But I've sorted out a lot of the stuff I've needed to sort out, and I'm able to focus back in the crypto domain for a while, which is great. So I decided let's just jump right into it. There has been a lot going on. I mean, even over the last couple of months, when I've been looking at the indicators that I use, none of those indicators have hit. There haven't been massive movements in the indicators, so it has still been pretty stable. A lot of the things I'm looking at, my view still hasn't really changed. Still looking at Q4 for me. Still looking at maybe somewhere between 160, 190, something like that for Bitcoin. Looking at the indicators that I look at, and I'm thinking tomorrow I'll jump in and just do something on the indicators, like individually, where they are, how they haven't hit, what we should maybe be looking for. Again, it's not a science. Things will not be exactly like prior cycles. However, hopefully they'll rhyme a little bit, and that's what I'm looking for. There's nothing at the moment to tell me that that's going to be any different. Even looking at the last cycle, the 2021 cycle, if we like, there are some huge things that happened during that. You had the China ban the mining, and we saw that drop come down. You then had Sam Bankman-Fried in the November-ish period. You then go through to like May, and you had Luna collapse and things like that. So there's things like that potentially had an impact on that cycle, and we didn't get to see that cycle fully come to fruition, if you like, looking at the charts. So I'm sort of looking at things like that, what could have been potentially what we could be looking at going forward. So again, I'll touch more on those sorts of things in tomorrow's video, which I will go into. But at the moment, let's put on the seeing eyes and let's just have a look at the charts, what's going on with those, and where we're at. As we can see here, we've got the overall crypto market. Again, now I haven't looked at this for a while, at least not in detail. So let's have a quick run through. We've got Bitcoin at 115K, so up 3.9% on the week. I will be looking at the weeklies here. Solana 17.5, big move. Doge 21.1. Hyperliquid in the 12s is big. Avalanche 20.8. That's good to see. Any up's good to see, let's be honest. What else we've got here? Wow, Mantle 44.4. I have not looked into that, as I'm only just seeing that, so we'll have a look at what could be driving that in a little bit. Meme Core 35.7. Worldcoin 44.4. Pump Fund 68.3. Wow, what have I missed? What else we got? Budgie Penguins 15.8. So some of the similar movers. MYX. Let's have a look at this one. MYX. So 2 days ago, MYX Finance decentralized exchange is under fire after reports disclosed the close to 10 million MYX tokens valued at about 170 million at the time were claimed by a cluster of addresses tied to the project. Yeah, that's enough for me. I'll be staying away from that one. Again, I've got my portfolios. If I see good opportunities in tokens, I've done a lot of research on. I like the narrative. I like the team. I like all those things I look for. The tokenomics, the team, the community, the utility, the narrative, the exchange listings, all those things that I look for. And I see a price opportunity, then I potentially will DCA. I'm not really looking for new projects at this stage of the cycle. I save that for the bear market where I do my research. I DCA in at better prices. If something comes to your eye now, more often than not, you've missed the boat and it's too late anyway. So that's how I operate. You do you. Say's up 13. That's good to see as well. Render I like. That's another one. So there's a few that I haven't researched. Providence Blockchain, 52.1%. So there's a couple of new ones in here that I'll have to do a bit of research on and catch up on. But all in all, where's Casper? Casper's down. It's only at what, 8.6 cents. It's up 6.4%. But again, that's the one that's one that I am bullish on, whether it's this cycle or the next cycle. It's decentralized, which is something I've really been looking for. It does 10 blocks per second. It's got smart contracts still to come. There's a lot of opportunity for that. It's not listed on any tier ones yet, so and some of those big wallets in that top 10, top 4 wallets, that I find it hard to believe that they're not exchanges. Getting it while they can before the market pops off and then they list it. So that's one I am keeping an eye on. It really hasn't been performing at all. Let's have a look over the last 12 months. See, it hasn't been performing at all. Max, obviously it had that big, but if we look over this period of time here, it's not a big performer. Still hoping that we'll get some decent movement out of this market, but there's a lot of things that need to happen for that to happen. Again, just one I'm keeping an eye on, along with a number of others. Still got ADA from the last cycle, things like that. Okay, a lot of green. This is on the weekly here again. Anything Seros, I have to look at that. This MYX, I'm not sold on that at all from the very limited look I did. If we then look at the key indicators, for me, the key indicator, so posted this on X today, crypto domain X, if you're looking for the handle. I haven't updated the category one. I will do that later, but at the moment, and the arrows are based predominantly on, where we were last time, a couple of months ago when I last posted this. We can see the dominance is coming down. Now, we want that dominance coming down. However, I feel we may see it go back up before come back down into the alt run, the altcoin cycle, but still it's down 55. ETH is up. We know the price has moved up. We know they're getting a lot of stablecoin movement on there. Market cap's above 4 trillion. Great to see for crypto as a whole. Volume's down a little. This will be the Sunday data for the US, so not too unusual there. September returns, we're seeing green at the moment. Now, if you remember a couple of years ago, it was like whatever number, 7, 8 reds in a row for September. Then we saw a couple of greens. So is this the turn? We're mid-month. It's 0.66, like nothing to get excited about, but yeah, I'm thinking we should start to begin to see that turn into the Q3, 4. So Q4, if you remember one of the earlier videos I looked at the cycles from the bottom to the top, and last cycle may have been like, it was something like 172, 175 days, something like 1,071, 75 days. And the cycle before was 1,062, something like that. If you took an average, though, from the point of where we hit our bottom, it landed somewhere around the 17th of October in this cycle. So I'm keen to look at where Bitcoin is around that time and how it moves from there. Obviously, often you'll get that last run of the alts after the peak in the Bitcoin, so keep an eye on that. But that's something for us to watch. We know it goes sort of like Bitcoin into Ethereum, into blue chips, into mid caps, into degen, which we've all got a little bit of. The other ones here, RSI, Pi Cycle Top, Historic Risks, etc. None of these have hit. None of the indicators that I look at, and these are the main ones, I do have some others, have hit to tell me that we've topped out in this cycle. So for me, I still think Q4 is coming. As I've said, I will do tomorrow. I'll jump in and I'll do a video just looking at some of these indicators a bit deeper, bring up the charts, things like that, and have a look at that tomorrow. Fear and greed is at 53. So it's around neutral, but I think it's not too unexpected if we're going to start going into that run again. The next month's really key for me. Really going to be focused over the next 3.5 months. I'm not jumping into it's going to be a super cycle and it's going to all happen in Q1, Q2, 26. Not for me. As soon as these indicators hit, I'm out. Okay, so these are what I'll be using. If I leave money on the table, that's fine. I'm not stressed about that at all. I just don't want to be holding the bag for everyone else through a bear market again. So yeah, ETF flows like this week has been great. It's at 2.3 billion, big increase on where it was a few months ago. It was around 1 billion on the last week one. Last week itself was much lower than that. So we are starting to see that a bit more, which again has been good. So look, all in all, indicators still in a way where I expect them to be trending at the moment. Nothing major for me in here tells me that anything is different to what I'm already expecting it to be. So that's okay as well. And look, we have a few things coming up this week. Sorry, we have the Fed rate decision on Wednesday. Powell to deliver the result. We have the Bank of England rate decision on Thursday, the Bank of Japan rate decision on Friday. Look, we've got a lot happening in rates around the world globally. We are expecting to see some of that easing. We're expecting to see rates coming down, give people a bit more disposable income, or at least be able to handle some of the cost of living crisis we're seeing globally, whether it's your shopping or your power bills or, fuel or mortgages or whatever it is. We really need to see people being able to afford to live, basically. Crypto's an opportunity to change your life, but, you got to be able to live first. And it's been a tough few years for a lot of people globally. And hopefully these rates come down, first of all, to help people with their cost of living. And secondly, the flow and effect of investments and all that, of course, is beneficial for those of us that are holding things like the risk assets like crypto and things like that. So and then some of the other things that have been going on in the market, you've got Trump. Again, this is on the back of the rates discussion. Trump saying that he fully expects big rate cuts from Powell and the Fed Reserve to be coming up. You've got things like the DOT, which people haven't really been speaking about a lot. There's things happening in that space where last cycle they got to like $50. They're down at $4-5 at the moment, but they're talking about capping the supply of DOT. So if they do that at the 2.1 billion tokens, that'll potentially have an impact on the price. Again, your supply demand type things. You've got stablecoin supply on Ethereum kicking up. Stablecoins are one of the big things I watch because I like to watch when I look at the categories and I post categories. I look at stablecoin as a decrease in the stable coins means that often it's being pushed out into your altcoin. So that's one of the things I'm looking at for an altcoin season, not just the dominance of Bitcoin, that which is obvious and the main thing people look at, but the stablecoin moves also for me has a bit of an impact on that. You got things like, Coinbase still coming out saying that for them, all listings are free or merit based. I don't know that I buy that. You've got some of these meme coins or things like that come out and get listed after a couple of weeks, and you've got other things like Casper as an example that have been floating around for a while and still can't manage to get a listing. So I'm not sure that it's all merit based. They can say it if they want. I'm not buying it. You've got Pakistan as well. They're inviting firms in, so they're setting up a new licensing regime. How big an impact that's going to have? I mean, it's always good news for crypto, good news for the market when you've got these things happening. But how material Pakistan is in the scheme of things, that the message may be really good for the market, but the fact they're doing it and what it actually brings in, I'm not sold on that being a massive lift for the market and for Bitcoin as a whole. But look, overall, still nothing's changed for me. Still bullish in the long run. Still thinking Q4 for this cycle, we will see the top, or at least I would expect that I will see my exit indicators hitting. So it's really going to be a key focus. I'm going to be trying to post, at least a few times a week, because I think this is where the rubber's going to start to hit the road. I really do over the next quarter. So the next 3.5 months, let's say, I think, people really need to be focused on their portfolios, on their exit strategies. Make sure you're lined up with your exchanges to withdraw funds. Like, get all that sorted, get your plan in place for exiting the market now, not when everyone else is trying to hit it. So if you've got a limit at an exchange of $1,000 a day and you can max out at 10,000, go and get your 10,000 limit or your 100,000 or whatever it might be, but line all that stuff up now. So when the time comes, you've got it written down exactly what you're going to do. If I can't sell here or I can't get it off here, what am I going to do? What's my backup plan? Have a backup plan, because how often do you hear when the market gets really hot that exchanges shut down, people can't move things, there's a 3-day wait, there's yada, 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 right? So really line up that stuff, because I feel we're getting closer to the exit over the next 3.5 months, maybe less. So you really want to line up, what is your strategy? What's your exit strategy? What indicators are you looking at, or price, or however you want to do it? It's your money. You do whatever you want to do. For me, it's indicators. How are you doing that? Write it all down. Have a different exit strategy for each coin. It's not when this indicator hits. You may have different strategies depending, because as we know, the whole market doesn't move at once. You might have memes go. They may then roll into gaming, which may roll into RWA, which may roll into deepin, which may whatever. Often Bitcoin, Ethereum, blue chips, degen, mid degen. So, think through it now. Try not to let emotions guide your exit strategy and your decisions in the moment. So write them down now while you've got a clear head and you don't let emotions drive it, and then stick to them. That's the important thing, sticking to them. So many people go, right, I'm going to sell this at $5. They get to $5 and everyone's going, it's going to 10, it's going to 10. And they go, oh, it might go to 10. They hold them that bit longer and it goes down to 2. Stick to your strategy. You may well leave stuff on the table. I would rather leave money on the table than go back down through another bear market and hold the bags and be the bag holder for others. So look, give some thought to that sort of stuff. Look, at the end of the day, we're all in this market. We're not all going to win. It is the Hunger Games. It's player versus player. So look after yourself. Don't buy into the hype of we're all going to make it. Careful in those discords, careful in those chats, careful in those groups. They're not all your friends. They're going to be happy to leave you holding the bag. Don't do let's all buy on this day, because the others will be going, yeah, buy on that day. They'll be selling into it. So, just things like that, especially as we get to this part of the market. Look, at the end of the day, look out for yourselves. And just remember, crypto's an adventure. Get into it. I'll see you in the next one.